When I started taking P.E.Ds, they weren't even a classified substance, really.
Performance-enhancing drugs have been a hot topic in the world of wrestling, in particular the WWE, for almost 40 years.
You can be assured of drug-free sports entertainment.
In the 1980s, use of P.E.Ds was extremely common as the wrestling industry, and in particular WWE themselves, were very much built on bigger, larger-than-life wrestlers rather than smaller traditional wrestlers who you often see on WWE television today. However, in 1994, WWE and their chairman Vince McMahon were involved in a controversial steroid trial where the issue of whether McMahon was distributing steroids to his wrestlers became a serious topic of conversation.
Although I had a great deal to say about this unique life experience at the time after the trial, I did not.
Despite McMahon being acquitted, it forced WWE's hand, and as a result, smaller in stature superstars such as Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels were pushed over traditional big body guys. Many fans might not know that the WWE has actually had a wellness policy program as early as 1987. However, it wasn't until the tragic passing of Eddie Guerrero in 2005 and the later tragedy of Chris Benoit in 2007 that the wellness policy truly took form in order to protect and regulate the use of P.E.Ds within the WWE. But who was still busted for using them?
I think that there are sacrifices that professional athletes at that level will choose to make to succeed at the business that they participate in.
Well, join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at 10 WWE wrestlers who were busted using P.E.Ds. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos.
Live this life, son. Oh my God, you can't believe. Oh, can you see that look? I mean, oh, how can you possibly say that, Vince? How can you look that way?
Number 1. Randy Orton. In 2007, Sports Illustrated published a report detailing certain WWE superstars having links to a pharmaceutical company who supplied athletes with performance-enhancing drugs. The report sent shockwaves through the WWE and would later be known as the Signature Pharmacy Scandal. The list of WWE superstars was extensive, with names such as Edge and Booker T, and not to mention Chris Benoit, who had passed away just a few months earlier. Randy Orton was also a name on that list, and he was alleged to have obtained the steroids stanozolol, nandrolone, oxandrolone, and testosterone. Orton unfortunately has had several wellness policy violations over the years. However, this has never impacted the 13-time world champion's position on the WWE card, as he has maintained his main event position for almost 2 decades. Number 2. Edge. One of the biggest names revealed as part of the Signature Pharmacy scandal in 2007 was that of WWE Hall of Famer Edge. It was revealed in a report that between the years 2004 and 2007, Edge was using 2 different versions of HGH and a steroid. As this was Edge's first ever violation, he was suspended for 30 days. Just like Randy Orton, it didn't impact his WWE career, as upon returning he would quickly regain the world title and would even go on to main event WrestleMania alongside The Undertaker just a few months later. Edge himself previously admitted in a 2005 interview with Michael Landsberg that he used steroids in April 2004 after his neck surgery. Addressing the 2007 suspension on his MySpace page, geez, remember those? Edge stated that he was taking HGH after having further complications with his neck. He took advice from the doctors, who stated that it would make the healing process smoother, and the decision to take the P.E.Ds was only after strict medical advice and medical tests. Number 3. The Ultimate Warrior. In 1992, The Ultimate Warrior returned to WWE TV, and WWE had big plans to once again feature him as a main eventer and eventually make him the WWE Champion once again. Unfortunately, his return coincided with the US government's investigation into the use and distribution of steroids within the WWE. In June of that same year, WWE hired a Canadian chemist named Mauro de Pascal, who was in charge of monitoring and regulating the new wellness program, and according to many wrestlers at the time, he had an extremely strict process. Sadly for the Warrior, P.E.Ds were found in his test, and de Pascal convinced McMahon to release Warrior from his contract so it would send a strong message not just to fellow wrestlers but to the US government that the testing program is legitimate and WWE is taking all matters very seriously. Number 4. Mr. Kennedy. Mr. Kennedy was another wrestler who was part of the signature pharmacy scandal that we mentioned earlier in the list. However, what's interesting about Mr. Kennedy's inclusion in this list is just how hypocritical he became in relation to his own use of PEDs during his WWE career. In the summer of '07, following the Chris Benoit tragedy, several notable current and former WWE superstars made media appearances to defend the honor of WWE. One of the current wrestlers who did a media appearance was Mr. Kennedy. In one interview, Kennedy claimed that he had experimented with PEDs during his time as an independent wrestler, but the WWE and the opportunities they offered him managed to clean him up, and he hadn't done any PEDs since. Weeks later, Kennedy's name was listed as part of the pharmacy scandal, meaning he had gone to the media appearance and openly lied about his history of PED use. It made him look incredibly hypocritical, and it raised questions as to who else wasn't exactly telling the full truth to the extent of PED use within the WWE. Number 5. Umaga. Umaga was one of WWE's top heels between 2006 and 2009. He was involved in several notable feuds with the likes of John Cena and Jeff Hardy and has left a lasting impression on fans and his peers, with them sharing nothing but positive memories of the former Intercontinental Champion. But sadly for Umaga, he had continuous battles with drug use, and he was one of the names listed in the infamous pharmacy scandal. 2 years later in 2009, he once again failed a wellness policy, and WWE decided to release him as he refused to attend a rehab program. Sadly, Umaga passed away on December 4th, 2009, with the official cause of his passing being a heart attack. Medical examiners also found that Umaga had heart and liver disease simultaneously. It was ruled that Umaga's continued use of PEDs alongside these established medical conditions led to his tragic early passing. Number 6. Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy is without a doubt one of the most popular superstars in the history of WWE, attaining success as part of the Hardy Boys and then later as a top main event talent, but the only thing that ever held him back was his personal demons. Hardy has an established history of substance abuse and was already on strike 2 with the WWE's wellness policy by the time he left WWE in 2009. 2009 was a tough year for Hardy, as in the summer of that year, the police department in Fayetteville raided Hardy's house in Cameron, where they found a number of illegal substances, and Hardy was met with a list of charges. Luckily, Hardy is in a much better place 11 years on and remains one of WWE's most popular superstars. Number 7. Kurt Angle. WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle has been open regarding his problems with substance use over his WWE career, and those problems reached their peak in 2006 when he was suspended by the WWE after testing positive for PEDs and prescription painkillers, which no doubt related to his long history of neck problems. Angle had famously revealed that he was working in serious pain at the time, and his request for time off wasn't granted, so he asked for his release from WWE. Angle revealed in a 2017 interview that, "I didn't have a choice. Vince McMahon wanted me to continue to go full-time, and I couldn't do it full-time anymore. I look at John Cena now, and I don't know how he's done it for 11 years. I did it for 6.5. The decision was no doubt a smart one, as Angle was able to go to TNA, working just a few dates a month whilst maintaining his health and family life. Number 8. William Regal. William Regal is arguably one of the biggest names to ever fail to win the world title. However, Regal's personal demons have unfortunately gotten the best of him at multiple times throughout his career. Most notably, he was fired from WCW in 1998 and then fired from the WWE in 1999, all because of these demons. This has been a continuous problem for Regal, but luckily as of 2020, he is completely clean and is enjoying a senior role in NXT. In 2008, Regal was on the biggest role of his career. He was top heel on Raw as the villainous GM and had just won the King of the Ring. He was rumored to be entering a feud with Triple H over the WWE title, however this was cancelled as Regal failed the wellness policy for the second time and was suspended for 60 days. According to a report by The Observer at the time, they stated that there was a rumor that Regal was suspended for steroids as the pressure of being at the top of the card had gotten to him, and under the pressure, he resorted to steroids to maintain this position at the top. Number 9. Chris Benoit. And I'm sure we don't need to remind you again of the tragedy surrounding Chris Benoit and his family, but the post-mortem analysis of Benoit's brain showed CTE and obvious abuse of alcohol and steroid-related drugs. Unfortunately, those substances weren't found in a wellness policy test, but Benoit was named as part of the 2007 pharmacy scandal, which obviously raised issues in relation to the legitimacy of the wellness policy. WWE naturally went under investigation by the United States House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform regarding regarding their talent wellness policy after the passing of Benoit. However, Congress found that there was no course of action to be taken in relation to the WWE and their wellness policy. And number 10, Hulk Hogan. Arguably the most famous name to make the list is that of WWE legend and all-round wrestling icon Hulk Hogan. Hogan's involvement in his usage of P.E.Ds wasn't so much him getting caught via a test, it was in fact he testified in court in relation to his P.E.D usage as part of the 1994 steroid trial. In 1992, when the steroid scandal started impacting the company and in turn their top names, Hogan noticeably shrunk in size and looked like the slimmest he'd ever looked in his career. This was played off on WWE television as a strategy by Hogan to improve his speed against his opponents. In the trial itself, Hogan received immunity from prosecution, and under oath he admitted that he had used anabolic steroids since 1976 to gain size and weight. However, Hogan would also reveal that McMahon never once sold him or ordered him to take any illegal substances. The evidence and oath provided by Hogan would ultimately swing in McMahon's favor as he was acquitted of all charges. But there you have it guys, 10 wrestlers who were busted for using P.E.Ds. Be sure to leave your comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.